Welcome to the deep dive, where we cut through the noise to find, well, some genuinely surprising ways people are making money.
Yeah, often in places you wouldn't expect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And today, we're plunging into a world that really sparkles, you know?
Hmm.
We're talking about resin art.
Specifically keychains.
Right, keychains. It sounds small, but the popularity is surging. Our sources are showing these aren't just, like, cute trinkets. They're actually a pretty significant source of income for creators.
Absolutely. So for this deep dive, our mission is really to pull out the key insights from everything we looked at. Why are these resin keychains booming right now? How do you actually get started, maybe beyond just the super basics? And crucially, how do you sell them effectively?
Yeah.
The idea is you'll finish this chat feeling, well, pretty well informed, maybe even ready to explore this creative opportunity yourself.
Okay, so let's kick things off. The first big thing our sources dug into was why. Why has resin art, taken the handmade scene by storm like this?
It seems to come down to a few things, but accessibility is huge. But it's more nuanced than just being easy. What our sources really highlight is this unique combo. A really low barrier to entry cost-wise compared to the perceived value of the final thing.
Okay. So cheap to start, but looks expensive.
Pretty much. You can apparently put together a decent starter kit for well under $50.
Wow.
And then these keychains, they often sell for $15, $20, maybe even $30 each. So creators are seeing this incredibly fast return on investment.
It's huge.
Yeah, sometimes getting their initial costs back after just, 2 or 3 sales. That kind of speed to profit is pretty rare in the handmade world, actually.
A rapid ROI, yeah, that definitely stands out. But okay, low cost is one thing.
Yeah.
Our sources also kept mentioning this huge demand for these small, customizable items. What's driving that? Why do people want these little things so much?
Well, versatility is part of it, for
Okay.
sure. You mentioned glitter alphabet keychains, botanical bookmarks, custom pet tags. Those are super popular.
Right.
But what's really interesting, according to our sources, is that keychains often act as a sort of gateway purchase into handmade goods.
A gateway. How so?
Think about it. Their price point, often under $25, makes them kind of an impulse buy.
Less commitment than a big art piece.
Exactly. So creators can tap into a wider audience, people who might hesitate to drop more money on a bespoke item they haven't bought before. Plus, they're perfect for gifts, event giveaways, even small businesses using them for branded merch.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Constant demand drivers there.
Yeah, fuels that steady stream on Etsy, Instagram, craft fairs.
Right. So that customization point really connects. But once you're inspired, the next step is, well, how do you actually make them? What do the sources say about getting started, the practical stuff?
Okay, yeah, the how-to. The core is epoxy resin, obviously, 2 parts, resin and hardener.
Standard stuff.
Our sources really stressed that precision in measuring is critical, really critical for success.
Okay, not just eyeballing it.
Definitely not. Many actually recommend mixing by weight, not just volume, for a consistent cure. Avoids that sticky or brittle result nobody wants.
Okay.
And another common mistake, stirring too fast, creates tons of tiny bubbles.
The dreaded bubbles.
Yeah. A top tip we saw was gently warming the resin bottles beforehand, like in some warm water. Apparently that helps reduce bubbles quite a bit.
Interesting. Okay, so you mix carefully, then pour.
Right. Pour into silicone molds. And there are hundreds of shapes, letters, hearts, stars, you name it. Then the fun part, adding your bits.
The creative flair.
Exactly. Dried flowers, gold flakes, shells, glitter, beads, whatever works. And for personalization, you can embed tiny names or quotes, even logos using printable transparency sheets.
Oh, clever.
Then you just let it cure. Takes about 24 hours usually. And you get these sturdy sort of last-like keychains.
It sounds like, yeah, a mix of art and a bit of science, getting that mix right.
Definitely a balance.
Okay, but finding all these bits and pieces, the resin, the molds, glitter, the metal key rings, sourcing can be a pain, right? Or get expensive. Our sources listed some places, but what's the strategy for sourcing efficiently, especially if you want to scale up?
Yeah, that's super important. So for starting out, the usual suspects are fine, Amazon, AliExpress. You can get basics there easily.
Makes sense.
For maybe better quality resin or more unique molds, sources pointed towards specialty craft suppliers. Places like Resin Obsession or Let's Resin were mentioned. They often have, higher grade stuff.
Right, for stepping up the quality.
Exactly. And then if you're thinking bigger, like bulk buying, platforms like Alibaba or Faire are the way to go. Better pricing per unit, potentially better supplier connections too.
Okay, so different tiers depending on your scale.
And one more advanced tip from the sources. For creators who really want unique products, they suggested looking into liquid silicone kits to actually make your own custom molds.
Whoa, okay. That's next level.
Yeah, gives you total control over branding and design,
Yeah.
helps you stand out in what can be, let's face it, a crowded market.
Definitely something to aim for.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered making them, sourcing the stuff.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting for potential income. The selling part.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've made these cool pieces, how do you actually connect with customers and, turn it into cash? What strategies did our sources highlight?
Right, this is where art meets business. So beyond the big online platforms, Etsy, eBay, Shopify, those are kind of the go-tos.
Sure.
Our sources also talked about the power of local stuff, pitching to local boutiques maybe,
Yeah.
or collaborating with like micro-influencers in your niche to get the word out authentically.
Oh, interesting. Tapping into local networks.
Yeah. But the really fascinating insight was about social media. The actual process of making resin stuff is incredibly visually satisfying.
Oh, yeah. Those pouring videos are hypnotic.
Totally.
Yeah.
So making reels or TikToks, showing your process, the pouring, the curing, unmolding reveals, packing custom orders, that stuff has serious viral potential.
So the making is the marketing almost.
Pretty much. It can attract a huge audience organically. We saw examples like Hazel and Herb or the Pink Samurai. These creators built whole brands around these quirky, colorful resin pieces, partly by just showing their work being made. The process itself becomes part of the product's story and appeal.
That's brilliant, actually, using the craft itself to draw people in.
Huh?
So wrapping this section up, it's amazing how much strategy can go into such a seemingly small product.
It really is.
So what's the bottom line here? What does all this mean for someone thinking about jumping into resin keychains?
Well, synthesizing it all, the big takeaway is that resin keychains hit this sweet spot. They're beautiful, super customizable,
Yeah.
but also lightweight, relatively easy to make if you nail down those best practices we talked about.
Right. The precision matters.
It does. But our sources consistently showed that with some basic tools, a smart approach to getting your materials, and then that mix of creativity and like savvy social media use, you can definitely turn this into a steady, enjoyable income stream.
And it seems like the appeal is broad, too.
Oh, absolutely. Whether your style is minimalist or boho or super glam or even kind of geek chic, there's a niche, there's a style, and definitely a customer base out there for pretty much everyone.
That's really encouraging. So much potential packed into a small, sparkly package.
You got it.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the surprisingly complex and profitable world of resin keychains. We really hope these insights maybe spark some ideas for your own creative or perhaps entrepreneurial ventures.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as a final thought to leave you with, something to maybe mull over.
Uh-huh.
Considering how visually appealing the whole resin crafting process is and how easy it is to share online, think about this. How might the story of creating that handmade item, the intention behind it, the process, even the little imperfections, how might that story become just as valuable, maybe even more valuable, than the physical item itself in today's digital world?
That's deep. The narrative is part of the value.
Exactly. Definitely something to think about as you consider your own creative path.
Thanks a lot for listening. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. If this episode gave you even a tiny push to start something, that's a win for both of us. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this. Take care and keep creating.